Ladies and gentlemen, welcome to Zoom into Wine. It's time for the show and your host, Ian Blackburn.
There we go.
Hello. Hi.
Oh,
Hello, Niccolo.
Hi. Very nice to meet you.
Pleasure.
Ian, meet Niccolo. This is the nephew of Lodovico Antinori.
Fantastic.
Thank you for the opportunity. Thank you for organizing this, Sarah.
Yeah, it's all Ian. Ian used to work for us back in the day, so he has a great connection to Coburn.
Kind of that past up to today, and talk about how Lodovico started.
Yes, absolutely. It's part of the past, of the history of this area in general, together with Sassicaia. I think the two that really made the notoriety of this area are definitely Sassicaia, Mario Cisello Urqueta, and then Lodovico, who when he decided at the beginning of the 80s to start on Elaya, he obviously understood the potential of the area. And only later on, when he decided to move on from his previous project to Tenuta di Biserno, he expanded a bit the area, because you have to know that Tenuta di Biserno was prospected by Lodovico already back in 1995. He was looking for some more land to increase Ornellaia, and he had looked at this estate, but the estate is fairly large compared to Ornellaia. If you could, at the time Ornellaia was only 25 hectares. I don't know how to translate it in acres, and Biserno was already back then 40. So and wasn't planted, but he knew that by the type of soil and the diversity of exposure and so on, it was gonna somehow influence the personality of Ornellaia, because Ornellaia was more Cabernet based, Cabernet Sauvignon based, where these soils were more suited and today we have the confirmation of that for Cabernet Franc and Merlot. And then, of course, Cabernet Sauvignon and Petit Verdot. So, to make a long story short, at the beginning of 2000, we all got together, because that was actually part of the initial project. And Lodovico expressed the desire of wanting to start this new project. He talked about it with his brother Piero, who is the chairman of the Marchesi Antinori company. And at the same time, I had spoken to my uncle Piero, expressing the desire of joining the family business. I wanted to start working in the wine industry. I was very passionate, but more as a drinker than really working into the industry. And that's how it all started. So we started from scratch. The vineyards weren't there. There was nothing, but that's how it all began.
Oh, beautiful. So, like I said, I have had the great pleasure of being on the property there. It's absolutely spectacular. It is definitely, an adventure getting there as well. I remember the driver and our expert trying to wiggle through some pretty small roads to get up through. It's in. Would you consider it like the forests of Bulgari? Is that what we could say?
Yeah, absolutely. It's basically called La Macchia della Magona, which is the entire forest is a big word, because forest, you imagine big trees. It's sort of a typical Mediterranean vegetation, which is quite shorter than that, which is on the hills. It's basically part of the hill reef, if you want, that makes it such a microclimate in this area. I mean, the fact that we have these hills behind our back and the fact that we have the sea in front is what protects us from many atmospheric changes. And at the same time, it keeps everything in there. So we are just bordering the district of Bolgheri. We're just attached to it, basically. But obviously, we are in a different town. We've used this over and over, but it's basically, for the ones that are familiar with Bordeaux, it's between Pomerol and Saint-Emilion. You have one road that divides them, and Actually, I like to often talk about the fact that there is one person that has a house which is half in Bulgari and half in Bibona. and it's just at the limit, and it's quite funny.
Well, I mean, you definitely are a brand that has been pioneering from the beginning, going back to the roots of the original Super Tuscans. Lodovico started Ornellaia, and then sold Ornellaia and became the proprietor of Biserno, and planted Biserno in what year?
2001.
2000.
We started the whole, it was very interesting because when we started planting, we realized also the diversity of the soils. And in a matter of fact, the properties are split in two. There's one side, which is Biserno, which is about approximately 40 hectares, and it's all around the house, which is where we host our guests when they come and visit us, where you've been, obviously.
Yeah.
And then we have another part of the property, which is called Campo di Sasso, which is on the lower side of the hill, on sandier soils. And in that side, in that part, we not only planted the Baroto varietals, but we also planted some Syrah. And that's the main component.
That's the main component of the Cinghiale?
Yeah, absolutely. The Rinsoli del Cinghiale. And the reason for that, initially, it was because the soils were more suited. But also, on top of that, we felt that the Syrah was going to play a major role in making an entry-level wine more pleasant, fleshy, fruit-forward, adding a little spice, and not making it a dull wine. I mean, it is a wine with personality. It's a very pleasing, it's a no-brainer, as I like to call it. A very pleasing wine, but at the same time has a lot of personality. And I think it's important. I mean, there are so many good wines out there. I think the success of Insolio is definitely its character.
And I noticed there's some Cab Franc, Merlot, and Petit Verdot in the blend as well. So
yeah.
Truly a proprietary blend.
Absolutely.
And, you know, I do see a lot of new efforts in Tuscany on the coast, looking at Syrah. And there's just nothing you can't grow in this lush Mediterranean area. The flavor intensity, the richness and the quality and the value that you find in this particular bottling is really a key for it. And it seems to be maybe the driver of, you know, how you're going to be able to get more people to be aware of Biserno. Obviously, the top wine of the estate being quite a bit more money and a little bit more precious, but this wine really a great entry into the estate's state of mind, and a great ambassador for the brand.
Absolutely,
Biserno, yeah.
I think, you know, we feel very strongly about exactly what you were saying. We feel very strongly about that. You have to keep in mind one other aspect is that the two wines, the main wines of Biserno and Il Pino di Biserno, have very distinctive vineyards that make the blend. Now, anything that doesn't go in either of the two goes into Insolio. So basically, you still get incredible juice that tops up the Insolio blend. So not only you have that Syrah side that's very pleasing, but also you have some really top quality juice that gives a good feel of what we are trying to do at Biserno.
It's fantastic. Well, if Niccolo, if you get tired of the wine industry, that great voice of yours could be a wonderful in Hollywood. You could be a voiceover artist.
Thank you.
His wife is part of the industry.
Oh yeah.
Yes, my sister-in-law. Yes, my sister-in-law.
Oh, sister-in-law. Excuse me. Sorry.
Yeah, no. My wife escaped. She didn't want it to be part of it, but.
Well, it's great to have you here, and I look forward to running into you in our travels and time to visit. But I'm going to encourage everybody that's on this Zoom to be looking for the growth of the Biserno brand. It's still a baby in some regards. It's still being developed and taking form. A lot of people haven't tried many of the Biserno line, but this is a great ambassador, a great foray into the Biserno future. and certainly the future is bright. So we thank you for being with us today.
Thank you very much. Thanks a lot.
Thank you. Bye-bye now.
All right.